If it was some kind of like amphetamine, like an antihistamine kind of thing. I don't know what.
You're sneezing too much.
It's just hay fever you've got. Is there any dogs in this casino? Hello and welcome back to the For Your Ears Only podcast. My name is Derek, this is Jack, and we are the hosts of the podcast. We've not said our name in a long time.
No, we haven't.
I thought maybe we should tell people who we are. Today we are returning, much like Bond.
Oh.
With a new face.
I was going to say
and new hair. So in our last episode we wrapped up the golden age of Pierce Brosnan and we're moving on to the new age, the modern age. Mm-hmm. Some might even say a completely different Bond.
Yeah.
Different, a restart, some would say. The gritty reboot, as a lot of film critics would call it. And we go back to 2006 with Casino Royale. Someone did point out the other day that there's a Bond movie in 2006, there's one in 2007, and the fact that there's none in 2008, and the fact that there's none in 2007 is a crime against humanity.
Yeah.
The only time in millennium
they're going to get a 007
I think they did that intentionally.
Do you think so? I just think that
it was too on the nose.
Maybe it just slipped by them. They were too busy making a film. When they realised the January 1st, 2000, oh no, I should have waited.
What have we done here? So anyway, Casino Royale, 2006, directed by Martin Campbell.
Familiar name.
What did he do before?
Goldeneye.
Did Goldeneye, that was it. Of course he did Goldeneye.
He's done, this is him doing two firsts.
He's come back. Did a cameo as well.
Oh, is he in it?
He was the we're getting straight into it, aren't we? He was the director of the fuel truck at the airport who gets killed.
Oh.
Martin Campbell. Big Martin.
Putting yourself in the film.
So yes, we are here to go through Casino Royale, the new beginning. Mm-hmm. If this is your first time here, then I'm just going to get it out of the way at the start. Yeah, where have you been? We went from 1962 to 2006.
So old I am.
It's been like a year and a half. Yes, if this is your first time here, how did you find us? Please let us know. If you've not watched other episodes, please go back and watch them. You'll see how the quality has changed over time. Dropped off a cliff. But yes, if this is your first time here, welcome. And if it's not your first time here, then welcome back. Mm-hmm. We're going to go on a journey, the Daniel Craig journey.
Yeah.
I'm just rambling now.
Yes, you are.
So, before we go into what the movie's about and things like that, we are going to go with the 2 minutes.
Okay.
Again, for those who've been here before, and more so for those who've never been here before, we have a tradition on the podcast where we go through the movie in question. Either one of us has to take it in turns to describe the movie inside 2 minutes.
Yeah.
In a concise manner. No cheating. No cutting corners.
And your track record's pretty poor recently.
I've only failed
3 times, I think, and they were the last two you did.
No, I did that other day. I did well with it, and you said I did well with it.
Yeah, well,
get it up, you.
Go back. Yes, VAR.
You have 2 minutes to go through.
Okay.
Die Another Day. Casino Royale, and tell the good folks what the movie is all about. Right. You just let me know when you're ready.
I'm never ready. Born ready. Okay.
Yes. Casino Royale 2006 in 126 by Jacques Olivier. 3, 2, 1.
So the film opens with James Bond earning his 00 status as he kills two informants who are giving away state secrets. The film then cuts to James Bond in Madagascar fighting trying to fight a bomb maker. He's trying to find him, and there's one of the best opening scenes in the world where he's doing a crane chase and he's jumping and parkour and all that. It's great. So he finds a bomb maker, and instead of interrogating them, he kills him because he's arrogant and young. But that leads him to the Bahamas because he finds a phone on the bomb maker, and this text was sent from the Bahamas. When he gets to the Bahamas, he finds out who this guy's boss is, and he's connected to a known terrorist financier called Le Chiffre. And when he finds out that the plot from Le Chiffre is to short the stocks of a new aeroplane being launched, and the bomb maker was to blow up the aeroplane. So Bond has to travel to Miami, stop the bomb, which he does, and Le Chiffre loses all the money that he's got from terrorists. So he starts a poker tournament to win that money back, and MI6 puts James Bond in the poker tournament. He gets so far, finds out Le Chiffre's tale, but is betrayed, loses the money, gets bought back in by Felix Leiter, gets poisoned, survives the poisoning, and then wins the game against Le Chiffre. But Le Chiffre's not taking it well, and he tortures him for the password to get the money. But some secret organisation kills Le Chiffre and lets Bond live. They try and take the money from his girlfriend, Vespa Lind, who kills herself instead of taking the money, and Bond gets Le Chiffre in the end, Mr. White in the end. That was kind of...
You were very cocky at the end there. You were quite slow. It was like a bedtime story. And then Bond did this. And then Bond punched the man. Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah, he gets...
You did get the wrong name at the end.
He gets Mr. White in the end.
I don't really have any issues with the movie.
Right.
But watching it again and trying to piece together things, there was bits I didn't quite understand. Not didn't understand, but I thought, okay, that kind of makes sense, but...
Okay.
Okay.
Like
fine.
what? There's a glaring plot hole that everybody discusses that I, as a child, obviously watching this, never got. But it's the fact that if Le Chiffre's lost all that money, could MI6 not get involved then and pick him up? Because they know he's a terrorist and he's used terrorist money. He's lost all the money. So rather than letting him put on a tournament to win back the money, can they not just say, "We'll save you from these terrorists if you tell us all your secrets now"?
I bet he's got choices then. He's got an option.
What do you mean?
I think he still has money at that point. He's still got enough money to set up the tournament and buy into the game.
Yes.
So he could run off anywhere.
But all the terrorists are after him. That's why he gets ambushed at the casino.
There's only one terrorist after him. There's only the I don't even know if it mentions like the terrorist group's name.
But you would think that and Judi Dench would say, right, we know you're into these guys for millions of pounds and millions of dollars. Why don't we'll give you security if you tell us everything you know, rather than, okay, we might pay $15 million and lose it to you. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe. It's not as exciting, though, is it?
It's not as exciting. I've seen many people discuss that. I think
he still has assets, he still has money. The issue he has is, I think the money that was lost was part of very specific clients, which got me thinking of when James Bond killed the two heads of that terrorist, they were heads of that terrorist organisation in the stairwell.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, well, they're not coming for him now. And he was like, oh, keep him looking over his shoulder to see who's coming next. And nobody does.
Yeah.
Like, right. Okay.
But Mr. White does.
So that was an issue I had with it when I was trying to think about this. So James Bond wins the money and then gets not kidnapped. He drives to them, gets kidnapped.
Yep.
And Mr. White shows up and he says, oh, I'll get the money, tell them I'll get the money. And he says, money's not an issue to our organisation as much as knowing who to trust. And he kills him. And that's fine.
That makes sense.
Yes. Have I to believe that the organisation Mr. White is for, which I can forget, is it Quantum or is it Spectre?
It's both.
It's both, right. Do they still want this money? Because apparently they don't care as much.
Well, yes, because that's the whole Vespa scene in Venice. He's getting the money.
Yes, but why wouldn't they just keep him and torture him?
Because he betrayed them by using their money and losing it.
But why did they let James Bond and Vesper go? Did they try and play it in like a long game of saying...
Because they're the ones that know the password for the money, so they needed to live to take the money out.
you can still take them somewhere else and torture them. You don't need to let them go.
But that was what Mathis, or maybe it was M, said, that Vespa cut a deal to save Bond if she got them the money.
That was the deal
at the end.
That was the deal at the night he was poisoned. Because she said the reason that you lived that night is because she cut a deal.
No, yeah, they were talking about the torture night. The reason you survived the torture is because she...
I thought it was the poison scene, because she just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah. He was never going to survive that if she didn't get there in time.
I thought she couldn't get there unless she was allowed to leave, and she just happened to be there.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was he survived the torture scene at the end.
Yeah.
Because she was cut a deal to get the money, because she knew the account number and he knew the password.
Right.
So the money is kind of important, but
it's very convoluted. They wasted a lot of money and resources just tailing them then.
Yeah.
Also, who's Gettler?
The Gettler's from the novel. Like, the name is.
Is Gettler just a guy? Because to me it's very misleading when he has that random blacked out eyelid. What's that for? If anything,
to show he's a bad guy?
I'm 12 years old. I don't understand it. Is that Le Chiffre? Is he back? I didn't get. I was like, why? We've got such prominence for Le Chiffre and his like weeping eye.
Yeah, sure.
And then we've got a guy who kind of looks like him from a distance with sunglasses on, and obviously Vesper recognises who that is.
Yeah.
When you watch the movie again. But it's the first time on, and she's going, who was that? Was that? Is he back? Is Le Chiffre back?
No,
who's that meant to be? And it's just a completely different guy. Nah. And then it's on the phone. It's like, oh, Gettler said something. Am I supposed to know who that is? Nobody knows who this guy is.
No, nobody knows. I think you're just supposed to see black eye patch and go villain.
It's like an eye patch, it's like a blacked out sunglasses. I don't.
He just works for the organisation to get the money.
Yeah, I thought that bit was kind of not confusing, but maybe misleading to a point, especially first time watching it.
Yeah, but you were a child.
Even now, I think you watch, you're like, am I supposed to know who that person is?
No, I think he just comes out of nowhere.
Okay. Right, well, that's my confusion. The other bit I didn't get as well, I do get it now that you've explained it, is her, Vesper's complete change of personality from beforehand just being like distant and not really caring, and then suddenly in Venice, like trying to get after him. I was like, but I knew that was like, this is an act. We can now tell, watching it back again, that this was all an act to try and get him to
get the money,
to give the password to go over. But then I was like, should you not know this? But then maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's part of the character development of him now not trusting anyone.
Yeah, but we don't really know. Does she actually fall for him, or does she actually? Because she does kill herself, basically.
The theory is yes, but she's torn between him and the Algerian guy
that we see in the next film.
Yes, she's torn between that, but she doesn't want to pick, and also she knows that James Bond will kill her if need. That's what he wants to do, and people are like, "But she doesn't want to put him to the torment of killing her." And I'm like, this is getting a bit too much. Like,
yeah, and that was the only thing that came across my mind there a couple of days ago was, why did she have to kill herself? Like, she's made a mistake. James Bond comes, kills Gettler. They've still got the briefcase and the money. She could go, I'm sorry, turn me over. But instead she kills herself, and then there's no hope for the relationship.
I think she maybe just had enough.
She doesn't have to kill herself. She could just say, okay, you got me.
It's like Blofeld. Oh, you got me. Okay. Okay, well, I wanted to get my questions and issues out the way. Do you have any other questions or issues? That's not really a lot of issues. That's just bits where I want to understand. You've answered my question about how they survived. Good. I'm happy with that.
I'm happy.
Now on to the bits that we like.
And on to the bits we like. Nothing.
There's many. There's many bits.
What did you think about? We usually talk about history, but I'll not talk about history. Let's talk about the fact that we've rebooted.
Yes.
What is your thoughts on that? When this film came out, I was still a child, so I didn't really.
You were 10.
Yeah, a child.
Right.
I didn't really get...
This movie was 12. You should have been able to see that. I was 12.
Did you? Did you get to see this in the cinema?
Yes.
I don't remember if I seen this.
I remember this.
I did see
This
it.
was probably the first movie where I was aware enough of like, marketing
Okay.
and things, and I always remember the trailer came out and it was like, oh, this is James Bond and stuff like that, and I remember people being really pissy about him having blonde hair. I'm like, what? And it's like, James Blonde. I'm like, shut up. Like,
Yeah.
what does this have to do with anything? There's always some complaint about something. And I always remember the advert. Now that I talk about branding, I completely forgot to put it as like Vile laptops. Everybody has a Vile laptop.
Yeah.
And I remember this advert for Vile laptops, but with clips in the movie over Chris Cornell's song. And just when it started, and I was like, this movie's going to be great. And I really want that laptop.
No, I was too young for that.
I remember all that and the hype of going up for it, and it looked really good. And I just remember being in the cinema and being like, wow, this is like very action packed, but also I don't understand poker, so I don't really get what's going on here.
I do. I remember it's coming back to me. I watched it in the View in Hamilton.
That's probably what I've seen it as well.
But it was it still passed me by, the whole fact that there was a new Bond that was all rebooted and it was his first mission and all that. Now that I'm older and understand the concept much, it's cool.
I think they had to.
Yeah,
I think
film.
it's quite good. I'd like to get to a point where I appreciate the Daniel Craig arc.
Yes.
It's went from beginning to the end in the space of just over 20 years? Just less than 20 years. When did the time that come out? 22?
21 it came out, but it was supposed to come out in 2020.
Or was it not meant to come out in 2018, then it was delayed by a year?
It was delayed because of COVID. That's another
It wasn't
episode.
delayed because of COVID. It was delayed because of something else. It was pushed back 6 months because I think it was meant to come out. I think it was meant to come out in October 2019.
This is spoilers for another episode.
And then it was pushed back 6 months, and then 6 months was March 2020.
Yes.
And they said, "Oh, we'll push it back to the summer," and they went, "Still there." Pushed it back.
Yeah,
further.
you're right, because Billie Eilish's song came out supposed to come out to launch the film, and then it just came out to nothing.
I think the reboot idea is really good, especially for something this old.
And it did go a little bit too mental with Die Another Day and the space lasers and stuff and the CGI. The critics hated Pierce's last film, and so they thought, well, we need to change it. I've got it that it was really the influence of Bourne,
the Bourne Identity, yeah,
and how gritty and real that was that pushed them this direction. I think they actually had a treatment for Pierce Brosnan to be in this film very early on, but the plot would have been different.
Right.
They still had the rights to Casino Royale, but they didn't want to make it his first. It wouldn't have been his first mission because Pierce has already been.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Wouldn't make any sense, and they wanted Vesper to be like more his age.
Yeah, maybe saying that in the last movie, like try to make it make sense. Yeah,
but it never worked. I think they did a good thing.
Yes.
I can appreciate now that they should have kept Daniel Craig, but I think at the time, because Pierce Brosnan had such commercial success, like literally every film outdid the last, that there would be a lot of pushback from the world as to why they've got this unknown blonde guy who doesn't look conventionally handsome, taking over from what's literally an assured box office success.
I think it was good though. I think we kind of spoke briefly about the kind of gritty reboots like that, and again in 2005 there was like Batman Begins, and that was like a big thing of try to be more, I want to say realistic, but not really, less gadgets, because for me, I think the Pierce Brosnan commercial success is the fact that there was like this spy world Everyone was wanting to be a spy, and every comedy was a spy, and every TV show was a spy of some description. You've got like Spy Kids, Austin Powers,
Johnny English.
You've got the Tuxedo with Jackie Chan. All these things where, dare
parodies.
I say, Inspector Gadget, like parodies or something. But that was it. So I think when you have a movie trying to be serious but have all these other stupid things like watches,
kind of diluted it.
The watch that flies, things like that, it kind of muddies the water of, I don't know, it's hard to be taken serious. So I think going back and saying, okay, why don't we go right back to the start where we don't have all this stuff here? Because if Pierce Brosnan comes back, we have to outdo the last movie, because if we don't do it, we're back to like For Your Eyes Only.
Yes.
Where it goes up and then it tries to be serious, and it's just like, that's not good. That's not his character.
That's what they've done well to avoid that. It totally could have been that fantastical goes to the moon and then serious down to earth thing with the same guy. And it just didn't work. It's
like, no, we kind of want what we had before, but we don't want that. We want it different. The audience doesn't know, but the audience knows when they don't like something.
Yeah.
They might not know why they like it or why they dislike it, but they want something different, but they also want the comfort of how it's always been.
Yes. Isn't that
that's life.
I think it's the same forever.
Yeah, I think they made the right decision with it. I didn't know anything about the Casino Royale story. I don't know anything about the book. I hear that it is quite close.
It's pretty close, yeah.
To it, but overall, like I think the movie's great. Like I liked it as a child. Watched it over and over again. I watched it twice recently. Watched it once to understand it, and then watched it a second to try and figure out like questions. I was kind of getting not bored of watching it a second time, but I think that's just because I've seen it so often. And I'm like, oh, here this happens now, here it happens now. I know what line is coming up. I even know the music which is happening next. So it doesn't kind of surprise me. But I think as a movie, it's great. I think people do argue and say, well, it's not really James Bond, and I'm like, well, I disagree with that.
But it isn't James Bond yet. It's like becoming Bond. He's Bond at the end.
The fact he doesn't say his name till the end, and
that's when the music happens,
and it's like, come on,
yeah, exactly.
David Arnold,
David Arnold's good.
So yeah, I think that's what I think the movie is. I think it kind of stands in its, I don't know. I'd have a hard time debating with someone who dies on the hill of, no, we want Aston Martins and gadgets and ludicrous, that's how it should be. I don't want this realism. I don't want to see guys getting like whipped in the balls. I don't want that. Never seen that with Roger.
No, I don't think you would.
So I would have a hard time debating because that's right. But then if I just accept the fact that, listen, this is a new world because this is a new audience. We discussed this before as well about why Daniel Craig's picked, and the fact that he went to Simon, his personal trainer, and said, I want to be imposing.
Yeah.
I want this for the character. And he does. Like, that's just
quite scary coming out of the ocean.
Yeah, at the start, even any of the kind of fight sequences at all, it's like, right, well, he's going to win this. That's just it. He's not always going to be witty or have gadgets, but he can run through a drywall. So that's it.
Which is that. So there is humour in this film.
Yes.
Cut through that. What about the fact that it's all rebooted, it's all brand new, but not M?
I don't know. I think they've always got such a. This studio have such a fucking issue with just any consistency. And this is the new Bond. Same woman.
But that's M's from the last 5 films.
I don't know. I
think they
back
characters.
I think they kept her because she's done such a good job with it.
Well, that's what Martin Campbell said. He said, I wanted Judi Dench because she was very good at it.
Maybe this is... Do you think Judi Dench was a bit of a compromise? We're saying, if you changed everything, people might be a little bit... If you've got Judi Dench, this, like... acting royalty, really.
There's some tie to the previous films.
Dame Judi Dench, we've still got this here. And obviously you've got the things like the P99, as you mentioned before, the same suit brand and things.
I think the problem with having Judi Dench is that it does muddy the waters as to the fact that this is its separate universe. The Craig universe is different. It's not connected to the 20 films beforehand. But having that same actress kind of muddies it, because you're like, oh, is this supposed to be Pierce?
It sounds like a producer choice. It sounds like someone said, we need... Now that I think about it, they've probably said we need a big name.
Yeah. Because
Daniel Craig, beforehand he was in, like, off the top of my head, like Lara Croft, Layer Cake. That's really the only things I can remember him from. The other actors, like Mads Mikkelsen,
he wasn't in anything before this.
Some
really.
Scandinavian movies, probably.
Yeah.
You've got Jeffrey Wright. Never seen him in anything at all beforehand.
Nah.
I'm trying to think of any other actors. I don't remember seeing them in.
Green's too young.
Yeah, there's no big names, and I think they just said, "Listen, we need a big ball. Will we do a well-known M?" And I think they were probably like, actually, Judi Dench was just good, so she was good at it. It I don't know. It still gets the itch of old Bond fans. Saying, this isn't canon.
Exactly. Well, that's why
I think it was a compromise.
Yeah, that's why people have a hard time even now separating the Craig universe from the previous 20 films. And I think producers maybe have that problem now that Craig universe is over. Do they continue from Pierce, or do they start a third universe?
Is Ralph Fiennes going to return as M?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think that's not our problem. I think that has to be.
But it might be when Barb's hires us.
Yes, I think that has to be. But the next problem here is for the audience to answer question number 1.
Well done.
Segue! So there is no order of this, but we usually do the easy question first of all. So what's an easy question? Here is an easy one. Yeah, I think that's quite easy. So, Casino Royale is where the game takes place, because that's the name of the movie. But what is the name of the hotel that everyone appears to be staying at? Ooh. Never knew this until I watched it the second time.
I thought that was a hard started question.
So,
he's in a room across the landing from Le Chiffre, is that right?
No, the Chief's in the presidential suite.
Oh, right, I can't remember that.
I don't think that'd be a good idea.
I know, I was like...
Shoot it through the wall.
It could have been a shorter film.
No, because the command was up at when everything kicks off in that top floor. He tells her to go down the stairs to get back to the room.
Oh, right, okay.
I think
that makes sense now.
I always wondered with that. Actually, here's something to discuss. So he bugged the inhaler.
Yes.
Right. And then he goes up to the room. What was the plan there? What was he going to do? He went up with a weapon.
Yeah.
He didn't see that the terrorists arrived. This was just to find out what room he was staying in. I mean, you could just assume it's the presidential suite, or you could follow him. And
what was the plan?
There was a microphone as well. Like, he was going up to the room, but we have no idea why.
At what point in the film was this? Was this after he was put out?
No. This is the bit just before the stairwell scene.
Yeah, but is James Bond being put out?
No, he was still
in the game. So what was he up to?
Yeah, exactly. Because remember he said, "Have you got the bug?" And he puts the bug in the... Because that's the bit, and he goes, "Gentlemen, we've been playing for, I think, 6 hours. Time for a short break." And I was like, 6 hours? I'd be steaming.
All those Vespas. All those Vespas.
What have you got me? People's cards. Yeah, this was just in the middle of the game.
Right.
And
so was he up to, like, I don't know, go through his stuff?
I don't know, but he knew he was up there.
You couldn't face him.
Because they're in the lift and he looks at the phone, he sees the bug going up and he sees what room he's in, and then he says, "Oh, open that," and then he takes out the weapon.
Is he just spying on him?
And then he's like, right, and then they walk up there and they're just walking past. He's still packing.
Yeah.
And then he hears the commotion in the room and he goes, "All right, take the lift down to the room, I'll get you there."
Okay, that's an unexplained. I don't have an answer.
What was he going to do? What was he going to do, Babs? Answer me.
Us.
Babs, or that producer who I didn't realise actually appears as the police chief.
Michael Wilson.
I always forget his name.
Michael Wilson.
You have to remember his name by that. Yeah, that's
really, a question.
That's really the kind of only bits with it. But I don't know. I'd like to go through the moments because there's many, and
there's a few moments here. Yeah, I've got a bunch. My first moment Let's go in chronological order. The crane sequence, the whole parkour sequence.
The whole bit was just I thought that was very telling of the kind of Bond that we're going to get, because he's what's his name? Is it Francois? Who's the
something like that?
Francois.
It's French.
The French guy. He's so elegant in the way he moves, being one of the best in the world at what he does.
Well, I've seen he supposedly founded parkour.
Yes, and he moves so, I'm going to say, effortlessly through everything, as his job and his skill set. James Bond is not elegant. He is like a hammer through things, and it's even from the bit of...
It's that blunt instrument thing.
Yeah, like jumping over the fence and like falling over and having to use this, and then jumping up the crane, looking actually when he goes up the crane, and just
jumping
clumsy
from the crane and just nearly missing and all that.
Yeah, just very clumsy. And
through the drywall is the best part.
The drywall is the best bit with that, because you see, he jumps through there, and it's like, he just ran through the wall. Okay, then.
That was some humour in it, but also, that you're right, very telling. One bit that I didn't understand as a kid, but I know now, is when he takes control of the sort of digger thing and goes right through the wall into the building, and it has bulletproof glass. And I was like, why would a digger have bulletproof glass?
But is it bulletproof? Just reinforced glass.
Yeah, but why?
Why does the digger have reinforced glass? You work closer to construction than I do.
Yes, exactly, which is why I was like, obviously now it's from blowback of anything.
Yeah.
When I was young, I was like, why would...
I would imagine it would also be the point of, like, when the digger lifts stuff up and drops stuff by accident.
Rocks come on top of you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a small minor detail.
I think it would just literally just reinforce glass. I think it's also... and I could be completely wrong here, it's probably a reinforced cabin for noise as well.
Pretty loud in there, I'm going to say.
I don't know.
But I don't know the laws of Madagascar.
He clearly knows. But yeah.
And the guys that try and fight him off with the sort of blowtorch thing.
Yeah, he just kicks him off. And then he shoots the two other guys.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the top of the crane and he's out of rounds. He only brought 2 rounds with him. That's all.
Gun catch is funny, and then he throws it back to him. Yeah. That's good. That's it's a new Bond.
I always thought that was unbelievable, but then when we held a gun, I was like, nah, you could hurt someone with that. Even right to the end of that scene
in the embassy bit.
Yeah,
the whole sequence right up to escaping the embassy.
Yeah,
is very good.
All moments, even the shooting the tanker and exploding and things, and it's talking about this whole I should have shot the camera thing. Like, okay, well, you're learning now.
Yeah,
you're learning. What did them possibly say to them? We want that agent. No, he's away on his holidays.
Yeah, how does she get away with him not being holed up in the UN?
Judy Dench. I think something I was thinking about, and I actually thought about this in the middle of the night, woke up with this thought.
Okay.
So moving forward from there to the Bahamas, where life is very easy for this man, where he just seems to have an unlimited credit card to just buy an Ocean View villa, destroy cars without any risk. Your cameras see him crashing the car, and he still buys that. And when what's the name of the guy, the terrorist guy who's on the front?
Dimitrios?
Alex Dimitrios, yeah. And he calls and he says, I'm on the first flight to Miami.
Yeah.
Now, I woke up because I thought, how do you get from the Bahamas to Miami? Wait, it has to be a plane. Because I wondered why he drove the Aston Martin, and then the next thing he was in a taxi.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what did he do with the car? And this is the same night. And I thought, right, well, I don't know how many flights there are from the Bahamas to Miami, but to get one like that and not have a lot of people on it, it's going to be quite slim. Plus, were they on the same flight?
Yeah, surely it was both on the last.
It was all plane. They were just sitting against the window.
If they were both on the last flight, they were on the last 2 seats, just sitting next to each other. Who's got the aisle?
They must know each other.
Did I not just lose my car to you in the Bahamas like a couple of hours ago?
Why is my wife in your hotel room? Yeah, I just thought, okay, well, he must get the same thing unless this Aston Martin also turns into a submarine. I just thought, okay, well, they've cut that bit out and moved along very quickly to be
move
like,
the plot.
okay, let's never mind about this bit. No, they didn't meet each other on the plane, even though they were definitely on the same plane. No, never mind that. But yeah, that whole bit. And then we've got the airport scene, which again,
The airport.
there was a nice few wee moments
Yeah.
with that. How do you get through the airport without a ticket? I thought you have to have a ticket to get there, or is that just a modern thing?
Probably that's a post. No, this film is post 9/11.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think with the...
You can get all the way up to security without a ticket.
Can you? You just get in, just want duty free.
Yeah. You go right up to the duty free,
Buy stuff and then leave.
and then leave.
Can you?
Oh, you can. Because you can walk into Edinburgh, Glasgow, you go up the stairs in Edinburgh,
Why would anyone do that?
and then you can come
Or
all
just
the
for
way
duty
back
free?
down.
Just for things that are slightly cheaper, that don't have tax, but are more expensive?
Yeah.
Alright. I think the airport scene did have a point. There was a point where I thought it was starting to get a bit silly, where see when the fuel truck and they're both on it, and it drives through the luggage. The
Yeah.
luggage thing just pulls in front of it and it crashes. It's like, oh no, what next? And then the bus, this empty bus, is like, what next is going to just drive in
You're
front
right,
of
that's like a naked gun thing.
That's exactly what I thought it was. I thought that same truck with GoldenEye just pulls in front of it as well. So yeah, like, I thought that, but it was like, it's kind of showy, and then they went to do the police car stunt with pulling it with a jet kind of thing. But one of my
Which would also
favourite,
probably never happen if
I think they did test it.
ground control would have grounded all flights
Well, this flight was landing.
and said, go land somewhere else.
Oh yeah, because
do
there's like an alarm going. Yeah, go somewhere else. Write that down. One of my favourite parts of the it's such a simple thing. See when he's on the side of the tanker, and the guy's trying to get him off, and then he sees the vehicle coming another way. And I'm like, what's he going to do here? Like, how's he going to get out of this? And he'd like to, and then he did what I thought is the counterintuitive thing of to jump the other way, and then he just misses it, and I was like, yes, I didn't expect
Risky
that.
business.
I was like, that was good. Wit. Well done, Daniel. So yeah, I really enjoyed that bit, and then I think it was
It's quite cold when he attaches the
satisfying, I think, when he had the wee smile. Death.
Yeah.
But did he kill him? I don't think he did. That guy killed himself with a bomb.
Okay. Technically.
Yeah, kind of.
A Bond moment is where he replicates the Ursula Andress scene and comes out of the ocean.
Yes. Do you think that was try to replicate it or just try to say
I think
look
that
how
was
big he is?
I think it was probably both. It's an homage to that, and then also just look how built how James Bond is now.
Look how big he's got.
I remember researching it and how everybody, the press were all against Blonde Bond and who is this guy, and he was all cold in the press conference and all that, and everybody was against him, and there was all the different boycott things from the start of the internet era. But then, like that, the press leaked that photo of him coming out the ocean, and then since then, everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's going to be good."
Just that one photo. I forgot every criticism I had.
Yeah.
Look at the guy, the size of that guy's pecs.
Because I remember they brought it up in that the Amazon documentary.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, was it the Apple TV one? They talked about how he was getting pelters, and then that photo came out and it changed everything. Everyone was excited for the film.
I mean, he is not a very charismatic Bond, but I suppose that's just the way it's played. He's meant to be naive and
Just never done it before.
yeah, I think that's quite interesting. We mentioned it before in terms of how the Bonds act in some films are better than others with that. And I said that this movie is, I think by far, his best acting. Like his most, I don't know, range, am I going to say?
Okay.
Could you think to the end of the movie when he's deeply upset,
Yep.
but also raging to get into that lift,
Yeah.
like underground, to then the points of being angry that Le Chiffre won and he's ready to go and kill him, and that way he's just kind of moving
with the
through
knife.
and getting kind of petulant, obviously petulant towards like the barman and things like that, and getting angry. And you've never really seen James Bond get angry other than
Losing
like
it.
Timothy Dalton, really, when he was
Yeah,
angry.
crushes that balloon.
But I think this did take a bit of that emotional element because, as you said, he is meant to be young and inexperienced, and this is, I suppose, at the end of the movie, it kind of wraps up where M's like, "Oh, you learnt your lesson,"
Yeah.
yada yada yada, and all that kind of thing. But
Is it his best film though?
Daniel Craig's
We'll come to that.
for
eventually.
performance, I would say yes.
Performance, yeah.
People would say about like Skyfall. I don't know. I don't think so. I think Skyfall, he was just a bit of like, he was pretending to be dead for a part of it.
I think
he was just a bit
Skyfall's
moody.
No, Skyfall's classic, good, perfect Bond. This is good acting from Daniel Craig.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what I really mean
Daniel?
by that. He was good in this. He had a lot to prove, and he proved it definitely.
I think as well with the movies that this is a movie where a lot of stuff goes wrong, and he has to go. So the poison scene was one that always stuck with me as a child. With that,
That is a good scene.
because I'd never understood at first why he drinks the salt water.
Yes, I had to ask.
Because I thought, is that the cure? But then he's trying to make himself sick, and I'm like, right.
I thought maybe the poison's it's a quick acting poison
Yes,
to be like within 10 seconds, and then
but not quick enough. I don't think that the measures they took to counteract the poison would work. But
what did they put in him? I can't remember. It's some drug, but it's basically just a
I don't know if it was.
stimulant.
I don't know if it was some kind of like amphetamine, like an antihistamine kind of thing. I don't know what.
He was sneezing too much.
It's just hay fever you've got. Is there
And
any
then
dogs in this casino?
When the guy says just stab it into your vein in your neck, I'd be like, where's that?
Yeah,
He just sort of randomly hits it.
Spot. I'd probably put it through my window. Oh no!
He just gets it.
Yeah,
I
think
would obviously put it in the wrong
I liked
place.
that scene. I thought it was it was a panic, and
Yeah.
you think it's going to get done, and then he can't get the wire,
And
I'm
then
like-
you're like, oh, this is good.
and then Judi Dench just screaming at him down the phone. And yeah, that
This
again,
is good.
that's some of the best James Bond movies
Yeah.
where there's an element of like time and panic. In fact, there's actually quite a few moments in this. So you've got that where there's timing, there's a panic. You've got the end where everyone who's watching this is literally holding their breath to say like, how is he possibly going to get? He's been in there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How is he going to get her out? How is he not drowned yet?
Yeah, how does he get her out?
So there's a lot of kind of panic moments. I think one of the small things I really liked in this movie was Le Chiffre. I just thought the performance
As a
was really-
moment.
the moment for Le Chiffre, I would say, is when he says "oops." I was like, you bastard. When
He puts him out.
yeah, that's actually probably one of my favourite moments in the movie, which I shouldn't say it. Just when it's just the way he puts the cards in his lip. He turns and goes, oops. I'm like, oh no!
Yeah.
He won!
Yeah, with his bleeding eye is a good thing that they put in there.
I thought that was all.
Who actually betrays Bond? Is it Vespa tells Le Chiffre he knows the tell, or is it Mathis
This is what I didn't get.
that tells
because
Le Chiffre?
Quantum of Solace confused things.
Yes, by Mathis being a good guy.
Well, you think up to a point that Mathis is the traitor.
Yeah.
And the fact that Le Chiffre says your friend Mathis is
my
actually my friend. But then again,
Kind of
it's just
lets you know.
it's just a name. You know, who knows?
But yeah, so from that, you would think Mathis is the bad guy because he gets tased at the end and taken off for questioning. But then on the boat, when they're talking about how Vespa betrayed them, M's like, I think something along the lines of, we can let Mathis go because we know that it was Vespa. And then the next film is
but then he says no.
Keep sweating him.
We've just proven that she's guilty, not that he's innocent.
And then that's when she says, "Oh, you've learned your lesson." And then in the next film,
they buy him a villa.
He's got his own villa in the middle of Italy.
I don't know.
So that was the only... I remember that since the first time I've watched it, I wasn't sure who the actual traitor was, and is Mathis actually a bad guy or not?
I think it was possible. Actually, no. I think it was Vesper, because there's a point where Bond did say it to both parties at the bar.
Yeah,
it was the barman. Said it to both parties at the bar. And obviously, at this point, Vesper has been controlled by some unknown entity because they've got her boyfriend.
Yes.
If Vesper's told someone and said this is something that happens, this is the tell.
When you lie,
but
you cry.
There's a point where just before the Shifra wins the hand, Mathis says, "Look, it's the tell." James was right, as though he's just spotted us for the first time and he's not noticed it. Why would he say that?
I think he's just pointing out, oh yeah, he's right, there's the tell there.
But then there's no point between there and when the Shifra wins that he can tell anyone that don't do that.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say.
Maybe in a convoluted way.
Yes.
Question two.
I've had so many questions for you. You can now give the audience.
Yes. So we want a slightly harder question. There is a few one I want to do, but it's maybe a bit harder. At the weird, creepy muscle museum thing in Miami, I can't remember the name of it. Is it the Human Body Works? Is that what it's called?
Body Works or something, yeah.
The Alex Demetrius leaves a key, or a key ring, or a key fob thing for a locker number for the bomber to pick up a bag. What is the number of that key ring? Locker / thing. What's the number? Tell me.
I know.
You know?
Yes, I know. It's also an Easter egg.
Is it?
Yes, because that number means something in Bond's world.
What does it mean? Can you tell me?
I can tell you. We give away the question. We give away the answer.
Do you want another question?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, right, I'll give another. Okay, another question is going to be. Okay, here's one here. James Bond and Vespa are given fake identities when they arrive in Montenegro. Yes, Montenegro, yes. When they arrive in Montenegro, Vesper's name is Stephanie Broadchest, which she has a grievance with. What is James Bond's alternative name? Hidden name. There's your question. Okay, so 53 was the keyring number.
Yeah, 53,
what's the story behind that?
53, Casino Royale, the book, was published in 1953, which is why they chose that.
Is that it?
Yes.
You could have just told me that was the year that Casino Royale was published.
Oh, I could have. But then they would have known it was either 19 or 53.
Wait, 19? What century was Casino Royale published in? Anywho.
Okay, Derek.
Oh God, you got questions for me?
What does James Bond, or what does Spider-Man have to do with James Bond? How did Spider-Man save James Bond? Right, let's do this for the talk. Right, Derek.
I'm assuming it's Spider-Man. This is the Sam Raimi movies.
How did Spider-Man save James Bond, Derek? Well, I'm going to tell you.
What, give me a... How did Spider-Man save James Bond? Is it something to do with Sony? No.
Yes.
Is it to do with Sony?
Uh-huh.
Right. So obviously Sony is the big name behind this movie. Obviously they've got the Sony Ericssons, they've got the Sony Bio laptops. Sony owned the rights to Spider-Man and more specifically made the early 2000s movies, Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 at this time. I don't think Spider-Man 3 came out until 2007. The James Bond year. How it saved James Bond, I don't know. Did they fund the majority of this to have their product placement?
Close, not really. No.
Was Spider-Man in this movie?
Tobey Maguire as Le Chiffre.
Go on, tell me.
Okay, so let's go back in history. Back to 19.
Gather round, children. Gather round.
That old man's talking. Right. So in 1985, Marvel was having some financial difficulties and decided to sell off the rights to Spider-Man. They sell the rights to MGM.
Oh.
MGM has the rights to Spider-Man. MGM also have James Bond.
This was the 70s?
80s, late 80s.
With what money? They were so in debt for Moonraker.
So they give the rights to MGM. Then, in the early 90s, somebody from MGM, an executive, leaves and goes to Sony.
Right.
Okay? And he has the rights to the Kevin McClory version of James Bond.
But no, wait. Go back. So this one individual.
Yes.
What do you mean has the rights? What, like a document?
Yeah, he has the whatever the agreements are.
This isn't like Tig. Who owns it? Like,
so Columbia, which is Sony.
This is Columbia TriStar.
Uh-huh.
Thing. Right. Okay.
The executive leaves MGM and goes to Sony with the rights to the Kevin McClory Thunderball.
Right.
And MGM have bought Spider-Man.
Right.
So they both decide we'll start making alternate universes. So Sony were going to build a James Bond universe.
Around Thunderball?
Yep, to annoy MGM. And MGM were going to create Spider-Man movies to annoy Sony.
Right.
So in the late 90s, both studios were like, this is a silly idea. They're going to bankrupt us and we're going to bankrupt them with our two heavyweight IPs. So in the late 90s, they have a gentleman's handshake and swap rights.
What were Sony possibly going to do with James Bond?
They had the rights to Spectre, Thunderball, Never Say Never Again.
Oh yeah, because that hadn't run out at that point, had it?
So they agree in 1999 to not swap rights, but stop themselves from making the films. So basically Sony was like, right, we'll not make an alternate Bond film if you give us the rights to Spider-Man. So MGM gives them the rights to Spider-Man.
That's why they're then able to make it in the early 2000s.
To do the Raimi films. And 2000, MGM end up getting the rights to the Kevin McClory stuff, which is why they
do nothing with them for a while.
Why they can do Spectre in the end.
Just one guy left.
Yeah, he's swapped companies.
How can you can't?
I don't know how it works.
You can't just take a folder and say, "Oh, this is mine now."
But no, he had all the knowledge and the IP and stuff, so he took it to his new company. He's like, right, okay, I know that we can do this.
Right. All right.
So in the end, Spider-Man got to where he should be, and James Bond was never stolen.
Well, there we go, children.
Yep.
There's a lesson
There's
to take back to your folks.
Yes, there's a lesson in copyright from the studios. I know that Quentin Tarantino wanted to make the next Bond film after Die Another Day, and he wanted to make a version with Pierce Brosnan, and like pitched it to MGM, and then basically said no.
They rightfully said no.
Oh well.
It was just going to be a version of like Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah.
I think what was his movie before Inglourious Basterds? That was 2009. I think that came out. Can't remember. Wasn't James Bond movie anyway.
No, and it never will be.
No. Speaking of Sony, there was quite a lot in this in terms of branding. So it's Sony.
Pared down from the last film.
Was it?
Significantly, because that was one of the critics kind of didn't like the fact that it was so heavily advertising. Remember how
the advertising outside of the movie?
Its full budget was paid for through the advertising.
Again, but this had a lot of advert. I mean, there was a lot of Sony. There was that one Ford.
Sony Ericsson.
Yeah.
I've got
Sony Vaio laptops.
Aston Martin,
Yep.
Omega,
Yep.
Virgin Atlantic. It's even got Richard in it.
Big dick. Bollinger was in it for one moment when he orders it to the room.
And Gordon's Gin gets a mention
And
in the Vespa.
Mount Gay.
Yeah.
Mount Gay in the... When he's playing Alex Demetrios.
Oh,
He asked for Mount Gay. That was actually going to be a question. I thought I'm going to put that as branding because that is it's
That's
a Mount Gay and soda. And Heineken.
And Heineken. That's the
Heineken
start
appears
of
a small kind of wee bit.
I think that must be the start of the partnership deal.
Yeah. I think there was something I found quite funny. Again, just looking out for like wee things was... So when... After the whole... stairwell fight... And Lashifa says, "Oh, you changed your shirt, Mr. Bond. I hope our game's not causing you to perspire." And I was like, "Oh, he's been really observant here." He's noticed the shirt, but not the fact that both hands have completely cut knuckles. And I thought, maybe they've not done that. No, when he sits down, his knuckles are completely burst, and he's in the shower, and they're all completely red. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, just the shirt.
You've come back after battering somebody. I'm like, okay, well, very observant.
Thanks. You've changed shirt.
Thank
Maybe
you
you
for
couldn't see out his blood eye. They couldn't see the knuckles. Do you remember on one of our nice fans on TikTok pointed out about the Ford Mondeo?
Yeah, because at first someone said if James Bond wanted to blend in, he should drive a Ford Mondeo. And in the recesses of my mind, I went, I remember something about a Ford Mondeo. And
Yes.
funnily, it was a Ford Mondeo.
It was a Ford Mondeo. It was a 2007 Ford Mondeo that they secretly shipped over to the Bahamas and it was hand built specifically for this scene because they hadn't entered production yet. So it was a one of one prototype 2007 Ford Mondeo especially for this film. Good promo there. I think at this time Ford actually owned Aston Martin, which is probably why.
Oh, that then explains it.
Why it's in there.
And I think I could be wrong here, but I think probably more Fords are sold per year than Aston Martins. So maybe that's...
I remember in school we watched the scene of the Ford Mondeo in business class because it was like a master class in selling a car, pitching a car, because that whole sequence is just a pitch for the Mondeo.
All right, okay. So a masterclass is like, it's not a masterclass if you have to spend like 10 million for a promo.
But yeah, just that one scene, you could have put that in a TV commercial, and it would have worked perfectly.
Yeah. Did you? Was that like business management in school?
Yeah.
So I had a business manager for a few years. Did you ever get the game where you had to run like a sports store?
Oh yeah,
It was
so.
It was quite fun, but
Yeah,
it was so you could rig the game quite easily because all that you did was you just put all the we set it up and people would get really stressed out at them like, no, this affects your grade, didn't it? And all that we did was sold Fitbit boots.
Right.
And we put the price so astronomically high, and we advertised 10 grand every week at Sky Sports, and money kept coming. Like, how are you doing this? It's like, clean the shop. Nah. More booze. Get more booze.
I don't know if we did play that game.
It was just, we went in every day, and it was so rigged. But people took it really seriously. People were like, how are you, I'm sorry, how are you on like £1 million a week? You just kept taking bank loans. It's fake money.
That's real business.
Part of my brain was unlocked there when you mentioned that there, but I was like, there's welcome to my business masterclass.
Loans.
10 grand loan, pay to Sky Sports, sell more booze.
Risky. Risky.
What we've not talked about actually in terms of the moments
The car
is
flip.
the car flip. Yes. Car flip is probably one of the most iconic moments of this movie because if I'm honest, it's not the most action filled movie. It's a lot of sitting down and staring at
in the
each other.
middle third, yeah.
And I think when there is action, there's a big bit of action. Like, why go to Venice and not destroy the building? You might as well do it. Then we've got the bit at the start, get the airplane chase, but then in between that you've got just a lot of sitting and talking and haggling. But the car flip was unexpected. I don't think it was in a trailer.
No. I've got it
was
here that The car barrel roll stunt in the DBS broke the world record for the most barrel rolls assisted by a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
So the cannon allowed the car to roll 7 times, and that's what put it into the Guinness World Records.
We spoke about this before, and you didn't think someone was in the car.
Someone's not in the car.
Someone's in the car?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, there's
I think they must cut to the bit where it does the last turn.
No.
And there's a person in it.
No, there is a stunt driver in the and I will tell
As
you.
he's doing the 7 turns.
Yes, because he's the one that activates the cannon.
Oh,
this is 2006. It's not. There's a. I believe it's kind of the same like a hydraulic handbrake where you hit the cannon. He'll swerve. He hits the cannon.
And he was in that.
Yes, he's and someone has to be in the car.
I didn't think they had to be in the car.
No, well, he's in like. It's not just like an Aston. It's a roll cage, and he's got a helmet, and he's probably got lots of cushions around him. Adam Curley,
right?
Adam Curley is the stunt driver for that. So he was in the car when it happened.
I'll need to watch an interview with him. Is he
If you just
alive?
actually, yeah, he's quite young. I think he's only in his like 40s or so, and he's not paralysed. You know, after flipping the car multiple times,
unlike that old guy who did the helicopter scene and got his legs sliced off.
no, but he died.
He did also die later.
He did
on.
die. He fell like many thousands of feet. He was very unfortunate, but what a guy.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Anyway, what are we talking about there?
You were talking about the barrel flip. I think you were going to go more, speak more about the barrel.
No, I wasn't. I
Right.
wanted just
to acknowledge it.
not to describe my appreciation. Yes, just to acknowledge and just say I liked that. I liked that.
The car flip was good. The torture scene was also iconic. That's a moment that you'd watch the film and say to your friends, "You need to watch this film." There's a big torture scene, which is in the book.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
It's quite funny as well. I think that's what takes it away from being so dark. Is when he talks about like he needs to get I've got an itch down there, and I'm like, all right, that's quite. It's not all
disarming.
Sad. Yes, disarming. That's a good description for it. But yeah, I think something I actually really did like about this movie, and it's a good start for things, is we joked about this during like Goldfinger and all the older movies, why he has to have one of the most expensive brand cars in the world to blend in. Yeah. Whereas for this movie, the reason he has everything is he has to look like he belongs at the table. He has to. So he has his Omega watch when he's going through. I don't know if they picked that out for them or because he doesn't have it at the start of the movie.
No, the Brioni suit.
The Brioni suit. Obviously, all that he's been given is a Ford Mondeo when he arrives in the Bahamas, and then wins an Aston Martin. Which, to me, I thought again it's quite an extreme of saying, right, okay, there's 20,000, and then he goes, okay, raise. Oh no, I'm going to sign a checkbook, and he goes, no, that's my car, and it's like, wait, the car is
like £1 million.
It's like. The car is like so many times higher, and then just one goes, oh, all in. I'm like, mate, that doesn't even pay for the service for this car. Yeah, exactly. What do I have to lose? And I thought, okay, he's won it, and that's not his car now. He's left that in a park and ride somewhere in the Bahamas,
getting a ticket,
and then he's given the Aston Martin to look like. To fit in with the area, parked horribly, because that's something I really noticed now.
I never noticed that.
I'm getting to that. I've written down dislikes. DBS parked horribly.
That's your age showing.
Yes, it's taken up 2 spaces, and I'm like,
I would take up 2 spaces if I had an Aston. Nobody can touch that.
I'd key that car. But yeah, I get how that's why he's doing it. This is all there for him to fit in and blend in with the other players.
I never thought of it that way. I just thought James Bond equals Aston Martin.
No, I thought it was just part of the cover. I did also learn that there's lots of people in this who've been in other movies.
I knew the Chinese woman.
Yes, she was in
at the table. You Only Live Twice.
Yes. Who else was there? There was a couple of other actors who had been in something before. I should be prepared for this rather than just say there was someone in this before. They were in like previous movies. Obviously, the only one I really knew of was Martin Campbell, who had the cameo. Probably Richard Branson having his cameo as well.
Yeah.
Why can't he just keep himself to himself?
Because he needs to be everywhere.
He needs to be relevant. But yeah, there's a couple of wee throwbacks with it, but I think that was just quite nice. I think especially with the DB5, I think they just wanted to they brought that in, I think, in the same way that they brought Judi Dench in.
Yeah.
It was like, we have to have something here.
It's like trying to slowly reintroduce all the tropes, like ordering the drink, getting the car, saying the name at the very end, wearing a suit in the last third, all that kind of stuff.
Just to say, this is the same
building
universe.
into this guy.
Just to let you know, we are still the same thing. I was going to say something there and I've completely forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I've got a question for you then.
Okay.
What does Le Chiffre mean?
The chicken. I don't know. I actually think I was thinking about doing the translate.
Uh-huh.
Do you know?
Yes.
What does it mean?
Le Chiffre means in French the number.
All right.
Okay, well, roughly translate to the number.
Okay.
But when when the film gets dubbed into other languages, it always comes out as the number until you get to Romanian, where Le Chiffre isn't called Le Chiffre in Romanian. He is called Oku Sprat.
Right.
Which translates as broken eye.
Quite literally.
Yes.
Mr. Broken Eye.
Exactly. Imagine James Bond up at the table saying, "Hello, Mr. Broken Eye." Yes. Another.
I'm assuming he's given himself that name then.
Because he is like the accountant of
just
terrorists.
Yeah, he's just a banker, really.
Yeah.
Financier.
A good villain, but not like a... Oh, he is a good villain. He's a top 5 villain, but he doesn't really do anything villainous. He's just sort of slimy.
He just wants money.
In the background.
He just lost money on
and needs to win it
short and a bet. He's the kind of guy that would short GameStop and then he lost all his money
fair,
to win it.
how different is he from your local man down the pub? He's lost his money, he's just trying to win it back.
He's
the next week.
He's just in the puggy.
Yeah, so I lost my money, but I'll just try again. Maybe I'll win it this time.
Do you know who James Bond is? James Bond's the guy at the back, watching him put his money in the puggy, waiting for him to walk away. So he goes up and he's waiting for the puggy to be full and ready to pay out.
Yes.
James Bond's a real villain here.
Yeah, the Chief's just like all of us. He's just chasing his losses.
That's a good
Gamble responsibly.
I think that's the summary of the show. Le Chiffre, the everyman. The broken eye. The brand new guy. Anyway, let's do question 3 before we get on to the ranking with the boards. Jack messed up. I brought the magnet. Jack left the board.
It's in Glasgow, yeah.
Sad.
AI it and CGI it. Both.
Yeah. Okay, question 3. So, we have... Actually, I've not explained what hotel they're staying at because that was one of the questions and that would be silly. But what is the room number of the hotel they are staying in? You only see it twice.
Briefly.
Yes, very, very briefly. That's the hardest question.
Yeah,
it's not. I don't think they were actually that hard this week. I think they were not too bad. Any wrapping up thoughts?
We usually talk about the gadgets, and there's no gadgets here.
None.
Absolutely none. So that segment's away. But did you have any one-liners? I've got every penny of it. She's like,
yeah, okay,
the money,
yeah.
every penny of it. Like, okay, that's fine. And then there is, I don't know if you could call it I give a damn, about that he's like shaken or stirred. Does it look like I give a damn? That's kind of a good, this is the kind of Bond we are.
Actually, I know what the best one is.
Or there's the one I've got here, is that last hand that nearly killed me. That's probably
I remember in the cinema and people thought that was really funny, and I thought, it's not that funny. People were like, ah! like, because there wasn't that many points that were
To laugh.
very funny. Yeah, it was all very serious at that point. It was like, Christ, James Bond nearly died. But yeah, there was
That's a good, huh?
yes, that's my level of laughter. Oh, that was it's a smiler. What you like? He nearly died, but anyway. But yeah, I remember people in the cinema found that hilarious, and I thought maybe I just don't get the joke. And
Am I
it turns
too
out
young?
that, no, I just wouldn't. No, there wasn't really that many lines. I'm trying to think of even like near the airport and things like that, and there's
On James Bond.
that's not a line. That's the sign off.
Yeah.
Actually, quickly, David Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best score
Ever. So far.
I would actually argue
Of
and
the
say ever.
25.
I would say of all the movies he's done, this is the best score.
Yeah, this is... I
This
agree
is
with
like
that.
the
This is his best
song.
one.
Obviously, Chris Cornell.
You like
a
the
lot of people-
song.
I think the song's great, and everyone
I think
thinks.
everybody loves it, but yeah.
I think I get why some people say it's maybe not a James Bondy song. It's not as mysterious and sounding, but
Just a rock song.
But it does sound mysterious, especially when it's got like an orchestra behind it.
Yeah.
But I think, it's got a lot of memories for me, that song, just of like
Yeah, it's a
grew up in the
formative
movie and things like
years.
that. And I think the way the score moved with everything was just like I say flawless. I use that with David Arnold a lot. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's
that
good at his
David.
job.
It does build until that very final big hurrah where he says James Bond, and then yeah,
And it's like, get on!
then he's the one playing the guitar. I remember that from the documentary.
He's like, I'm playing.
I will do this.
I'm doing this, but yeah, even like there's a theme called Montenegro on the album that,
Is
and
it
a
on
lot of people
Spotify?
play that and put it through, and it's a and obviously that's just the melody from the actual tune.
Yeah, from
Are you getting it right now?
Yes.
And that it's just the moment with the train going through Montenegro. I'm like, that's spot on. That just works so well with it. If you play music on this, does that not affect the podcast?
yeah. I'm going to mute it.
You're going to mute the music, okay?
Yes.
Listen closely, children.
Play it on the way
Anyway,
home.
if you want to listen to that song that we're talking about, go search Montenegro. And it's only like a minute, and that it just works
It has
really
the
really
theme.
well. And even the airport thing, there's that like urgency, like try to get round things, and even the stressful points of what was when he was trying to get the wires into the defibrillator.
Oh, yeah.
With that, it's really stressful. But then when he's in the water, trying to open the lift, it's kind of not soothing,
Sad.
sad. Yeah, it works quite
Yeah,
well.
it works.
Tugs on the heartstrings.
Oh.
You're like, just get her out of there. And then she's dead, and it's like, all right, maybe you should go back up to the surface. I don't know how long you can last
I
here.
don't want to keep looking at this corpse.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I get that.
as we normally do, David Arnold, good job. But I think this
Good
is
job.
I think this is probably one of the best, if not the best.
I think it's probably the best. Yeah.
Well done, David. You got a thumbs up from us.
2 thumbs from the podcast.
So we're going to be doing something different this week because we don't have a board to rank things again.
No,
so
we don't.
And I said I had an idea, and
Okay. Do you
and
remember the
I've
idea?
not told you the idea. So what I think we're going to do is I'm going to count down from 3, and then you're going to have to think back
Okay.
the order of the board.
Hold
you got
on.
a picture of the board?
I think I do have a picture of the board. I sent you a picture of the board.
Did you?
Yes.
When did you send me a picture of the
All
board?
right. Okay, that's an old one.
Is that the one where Diamonds Are Forever is still on there and it's not been removed?
No, I've got that another day. Cool.
No, I said Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds are.
Can I see the...
There you go. This is how the board stands.
Okay.
Now it's my turn. It should really be my turn to place it. No. Your turn to place it, my turn to replace it.
Yes. Wait, does that mean I should actually go first?
Yes, you go first.
So I should go first.
And then I
and
change it.
This is like... this is like people playing mental chess.
Make your next move.
Diamonds Are Forever, bottom.
Knight to E4.
Right, so this is legally binding.
This
what we
is-
say, that has to go on the board.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So I think Casino Royale She got the top.
Right, okay, that was not unexpected there.
Okay, what did you think?
I think...
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in this week.
I'm going to...
I swear to God, see if you put Casino Royale below The World's Not Enough, there will be a live and celebrated execution on this show.
I'm going to agree with that. And
oh no, it's going to move down Tomorrow Never Dies.
And I'm going to move down Tomorrow Never Dies to...
Why?
It's above...
Not why?
Because it's just not very good.
We've disagreed.
And we will continue to do this.
Oh wow, what's my shot next week if you bring the board?
So I'm going to move that down and say it's better than... Oh, is it better than Octopussy?
Yes, yes.
I'm going to say it's better than Octopussy. No, it's better from Russia with Love. I'm going to put it right under Living Daylights.
Living Daylights
Is better than Tomorrow Never Dies.
Saying that because he burst a balloon.
Yeah, he showed emotion in that film.
Nah.
Yours is just racist.
Because of the late carpet. Pathetic. That's you, Jack. You're pathetic.
Right, okay. Remember that. It's on film.
Remember the order. We've managed to wing our way through that last bit without the board. We're just going to have to use our imagination for the board. You'll have to imagine that the board is still there. Anyway, I thought that was
good.
with no gadgets.
No help.
About gadgets.
No help, but no gadget.
I know. But next we are going on to Quantum of Solace, and I am actually very much looking forward to revisiting this.
Yes, me
This
too.
was the very first Bond movie I had on Blu-ray.
Oh. Even I didn't have it in Blu-ray.
It's got a bit of a weak song though, and it's for the visual people. I'm just trying to wind Jack up because that's Jack's favourite song.
It's favourite artist.
That song has a lot of meaning for you actually, but we'll get on to that.
There's a lot to talk about.
That's set off your life.
It put me into the world.
Anyway, let's stop talking a load of shit.
Yes. Thanks for watching.
And, yes, thank you for watching. We will see you next time for Quantum of Solace, whenever that may be. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I was looking at you. I was like, is he going to say something?
We've already said goodbye.
Okay, right, we've said goodbye. Okay, we've said goodbye now.
Bye.